I spent 21 days traveling across South Korea and Japan with nothing but this one carry-on bag. In my last video, I showed you how I fit everything inside, but after living in it for 3 weeks, I have some things to tell you. You guys had some questions about which shoes I brought and my height relative to the bag size. I will answer those questions today and give you the truth about minimalist solo travel. We'll talk about the shoe mystery, my surprisingly simple sink washing, must-haves, and what I'd change. Was it a dream to be this mobile, or do I regret not bringing a suitcase for all that skincare and stuff that I wanted to bring? Let's start. First, let's address the footwear situation. I forgot to mention what shoes I wore in the last video. I actually only brought one pair of shoes. It's the shoes that I wore for all 3 weeks. Literally all 3 weeks, to all occasions that I sorry to everything that I did, and I did a lot of varied stuff. I did everything from hiking the 3rd highest peak in South Korea, the Bukhansan hike in Seoul, to going to museums, cafes, restaurants, sightseeing, walking in the streets. I did with only one pair of shoes. So which shoes was this? Oh, by the way, this is not sponsored. It's these ones. These are the Hoka Challenger shoes. They are so versatile. They were the best item on this entire trip. These are the must-haves. I'll talk more about other must-haves, but these are like #1. Oh shit. These trainers are very like neutral. Like some trainers can have like very strong colors. They're like boom, but these are very simple. Since the shoes are black, they go with literally everything, which is the perfect fit for this trip because I wanted some neutral shoes that I can use in all occasions. They have this grip. That's kind of the characteristics of the Challenger. Got the grip of a hiking shoe, but they have the great qualities that trainers do. The cushion, which is good for like long walking and sightseeing. The material here is very stretchable, breathable. I specifically bought these shoes for this trip. I've had Bondi version before and I really like those as well, but these have better grip. So I wanted to only bring one pair of shoes because shoes take a lot of space. But if I were to prioritize the space for 2 shoes, I would bring sneakers. Sometimes on museums and like restaurants and stuff, I wish I had like a little bit nicer shoes, but at the same time though, I walked around 10,000 to 20,000 steps each day. I could be out in the morning and be back at like 6 p.m. I wouldn't be able to do that on sneakers or other shoes that doesn't have like the supporting ergonomic good qualities. Also, my feet weren't hurting at all with these shoes, which is amazing. I didn't get any like bruises. If you want to take care of your feet and be comfortable, then trainers is my tips. It's definitely worth it. So that is the shoe mystery unsolved. Let's move on to the next topic, which is my very small wardrobe cycle and the washing logistics. I only packed 2 pants and 5 tops for these 3 weeks in Japan and South Korea. The thing that worked really well was, since I packed so like basic clothes with basic like colors, I could wear them interchangeably, like rotating the different combinations so that I had more like different outfits. I just did sink washing. If I was staying 3 nights, then I would obviously do it the first day so that it could dry. But I brought a little washing detergent in like paper, so it's not liquid, and that you just fill the sink, put the paper in the sink, and you hand wash the laundry stuff. The clothes that I brought were thin, which is also a plus when air drying the clothes after hand washing them, because it takes obviously longer time if the clothes are really thick. I didn't really have to wash everything either because air drying them, is it called air drying? Just like airing them would also just help. Hand wash was just like small like tops like this, so it wasn't like big clothes. It's really easy to find laundry places if you don't want to do the sink washing. So I did wear the 5 kind of item clothes that I had for like maybe 2 weeks, and then the last week I got some new clothes and I wore the new clothes, which was also part of the plan when I was packing, was that I wanted to shop along the way, or if I found clothes along the way, I wanted to be able to have some space to buy them. And also, since I had like 3 or 4 of the days was also like hiking days, I was wearing only the hiking clothes for those days, which also helped because then I didn't actually use the 5 items like every day. But I would still say that it would be definitely possible to wear the 5 items on rotation, just that it could feel like it was a little bit repetitive. Let's move on to the must-haves on a 3-week trip in South Korea and Japan when packing minimalistic. I already told you about the shoes. Another must-have item, this black wool sweater was my life on those 3 weeks. I was traveling in autumn time from like mid-October to the first week in November. The mornings and evenings were quite cold. Depending on the location, they could be as low as like 5 degrees. And during the day, it could be as high as like 15, 16 degrees. And this sweater is very thin, but since it's wool, it warms a lot. The great thing about wool is it's like self-cleaning. So I did not wash this for the entire 3 weeks. It didn't smell bad either. Leave it out and just air it and it will be fine. Like my shoes, this is also black. It then fits with everything that I have and I can use it all the time. Okay, next must-have item. This wind jacket. This jacket is also very thin. This was perfect also in this autumn weather during the day. It could be enough with this one. For example, in Jeonju, it was so warm. It was like 19 degrees during the day. At colder places, when it was like 10 degrees, I could have like a top, layer it with this wool sweater, and then also this wind jacket. I love the layering thing. It's like literally the best. I'm a person that can get very warm easily, but I could also be very cold easily as well. I feel like layering for me is the perfect combination because then it's like easy to adjust to the temperatures. Also a perfect fit for the hiking. That's why I chose to bring an all-around jacket like this, because I knew I was doing very like opposite things. It has a hoodie, which was life-saving at the top of Daejeongbong Peak. It also water repellent, like it can take some rain, which it did because it was raining. So another thing that I was really happy that I brought was these neck warmer, which is also wool, and thin gloves. They were so good on the hikes, and also wool socks. These items were like so great because you're prepared for quite different situations. Good use of the little space that you have in a carry-on. Let's move on to the next topic, which is what I changed or the lessons learned. Since I didn't pack a lot, as you saw in the previous video, there was only one thing that I didn't use at all, which was this flashlight. I was packing this one to do a hike in Seoul National Park at dawn when it was dark. I didn't do it at dawn, I did it in the morning when it was light. But for all the other things that I packed so little that I used everything. One thing that I only used not as much, this neck pillow thing. Mixed feelings about this one because it is essential on the 14-hour flight, and also it could be good for the intercity buses and trains, but like an annoying thing to bring along everywhere in the planes. I usually pick the window seat because you get like the little pillow. So if I have the window seat, I can just use the pillow, lean my head against the wall. But if I don't have a pillow seat, then this one is necessary. This one is something that I will consider ditching for the next minimalist traveling. One thing that I would change for the next minimalistic traveling, I would bring maybe 1 or 2 more tops, or change out one top with something that's not so basic. I was packing beige and black for the most part, and I think those were like a little bit boring when I was wearing those all the time. For the next time, I would bring like 1 or 2 nicer tops. The bag fit and ergonomics. I packed and traveled with the Osprey 55 liter. The Fairview series is for women, which is great. I love that. The 55 liter is divided into a 40 liter. This is the main carry-on. 15 liter here is a day pack. I got a comment on my last video asking about what my height is in relation to the bag's fit. So I'm about 159 meters, which is 5.2 feet. And I felt like this bag fit me well. This Osprey bag is 55 centimeters in height and 35 centimeters in width. And I'll show you how it looks like on my back. So it goes here on my head. If you're taller than me, your back might go like a little bit lower, which might be even better. So I did feel a difference on the weight on this backpack from the beginning when it was not as heavy, and in the end when it was completely full. When it was heavier in the end, I was so grateful for the great support that this bag has. When you wear this like back support, you can feel like the weight is already shifting. And when you also have this one on, and also this strap here, attach it to here. So all of these three things, this lower back support, this upper back support, and this top strap here, all of those three things make it so much more manageable, the weight. And also the back is really good as well. It's like breathable. And now I don't have the 15 liters on, but that's also something that I've been loving, having this on top of this 40 liter, to not have like one bag on the back and small one on the front, because this is just too much for me now. As a solo traveler, this bag was really great to travel with. It wasn't too heavy in stairs, and it was also easy to bring on intercity buses, trains, the plane, because it wasn't too big. This bag will definitely be my next bag also for the next carry-on travel 3 weeks in wherever it is, because this one worked really well. So finally, let's answer the one big question. Is one carry-on bag for 3 weeks in Japan and South Korea worth it? I would give my honest answer 100% yes if you're going to more than 2 destinations. If you're only staying at 1 destination or 2 destinations, say Seoul and Busan or Tokyo and Kyoto, then I would say it might not be worth the hassle, or you could easily just have a suitcase, because it's easily to transfer to those 2 cities with a suitcase, and then you didn't have to do the minimalistic traveling thing. But if you're doing like I did, moving to different cities, I went to 6 different cities in South Korea by train and by intercity buses. And then I flew from South Korea to Japan, and then I did 2 cities in Japan, and I went back to South Korea. That means that I did a lot of traveling from place to place. So for that kind of trip, yes, 100% as light as possible, carry-on luggage is the best. It's also cheaper because for the flights you don't need check-in baggage, but the main reason I would say is that it's most convenient. So definitely worth it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you're a one carry-on bag traveler or bring as much as you can traveler. On this Lene travel channel, I will have different series. So this is a part of like the packing gear series, and I will be making more videos like this. And then I've also made other types of videos like travel vlogs. If you want to see real reactions and experiences, you can check that out here. Goodbye. 35 centimeters, 35. So happy about these ones. So Hoka, if you want to sponsor me, I can be your ambassador.